What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. MLB, Chicago Cubs versus New York Mets. So in this game, the Cubs have a 58.7% chance to win, and the Mets have a 41.3% chance to win. This is at New York. For pitchers, Boyd for the Cubs has an ERA of 2.75 and a WHIP of 1.35. And Canning for the Mets has an ERA of 2.5 and a WHIP of 1.39. So pretty close pitching for both teams. It's pretty good pitching for both pitchers. You know, basically ERA wise, it's very slightly in the favor of the Mets by like 0.25, so not really significant difference. And so I think the home field advantage will play the biggest role. So I think the Mets will beat the Cubs tomorrow. Minnesota Twins versus San Francisco Giants. So the Giants have a 42.1% chance to win, and the Twins have a 57.9% chance to win. This is at Minnesota. And for pitchers, Ralph for the Giants has an ERA of 4.89 and a WHIP of 1.54. And Lopez for the Twins has an ERA of 2.18 and then a WHIP of 0.94. So pitching advantage definitely significantly in the favor of the Twins. I mean, ERA for Lopez being a little above 2 and the ERA for Route being a little under 5. So like that ERA is not good. That's not a good one. So with the definite pitching advantage and with home field advantage, I think the Twins beat the Giants tomorrow. Philadelphia Phillies versus Cleveland Guardians. The Phillies have a 57.3% chance to win, and the Guardians have a 42.7% chance to win. This is at Cleveland. For pitchers, Wheeler for the Phillies has an ERA of 3.35 and a WHIP of 0.94. And Ortiz for the Guardians has an ERA of 5.3 and a WHIP of 1.42. So, good pitching. Decent pitching for Wheeler, not so great pitching for Ortiz. So I think pitching advantage is definitely in the favor of the Phillies. And so I'd say despite the home field advantage that the Guardians have, I think the Phillies uh, beat the Guardians tomorrow due to their pitching advantage. Boston Red Sox versus Kansas City Royals. The Red Sox have a 40.9% chance to win, and the Royals have a 59.1% chance to win. This is at Kansas City. For pitchers, Giolito for the Red Sox has an ERA of 8.38 and a WHIP of 1.86. And Lugo for the Royals has an ERA of 2.84 and a WHIP of 1.11. So, you know, Giolito's ERA is pretty high for for like for this year. That's not good, but it is out of like only basically like it's not a lot. So it's like around it's like a little over 9 innings. So like 9 2/3 innings. So he hasn't pitched a lot. That's going to contribute to why his ERA is as high as it is. And so for like so his like career ERA is so he's allowed 508 earned runs. And he's pitched in you know 1023 and 1/3 innings. So for his ERA it would be 508 career. You have 508 divided by innings pitched. So like, that will get you, let's see, that will get you, like a 4.47 ERA for his career. So far as for his career one in comparison to, Lugo, I would say that still gives the Royals the advantage. So I'd say the pitching advantage is with the Royals. And so with the pitching advantage and with the home field advantage, I think the Royals beat the Red Sox tomorrow. Los Angeles Dodgers versus Arizona Diamondbacks. So the Dodgers have a 50.4% chance to win. The Diamondbacks have a 49.6% chance to win. It's at Arizona. For pitchers, Gonsolin for the Dodgers has an ERA of 4.09, the WHIP of 1.09, and Gallen for the Diamondbacks has an ERA of 4.37, the WHIP of 1.21. So pitching is close between the two. Neither one has an ERA you want because you want below 4, but pretty close in pitching for both of them. So I think home field advantage is going to be the big thing. So I think the Diamondbacks beat the Dodgers tomorrow. New York Yankees versus Oakland Athletics. So the Yankees have a 64.1% chance to win, and the A's have a 35.9% chance to win. For pitchers, at the time of recording this, the Yankees do not have a pitcher decided. And Severino for the A's has an ERA of 3.62 and the WHIP of 1.21. So decent pitching for for the A's, for their starting pitcher tomorrow. Below 4, that's good. So yeah, I think with the unknowns with the pitching for the Yankees, we don't know who it is. I think with the good pitching from Severino and the home field advantage for the A's, well, okay, there ain't home field advantage. It's Oakland. They haven't had as many people show up in years as they used to, but so ignoring home field advantage. So I think with the pitching advantage that the A's have, I think the A's will beat the Yankees tomorrow. NBA, Cleveland Cavaliers versus Indiana Pacers, Game 4. So Indiana is up 2-1 in the series, and they have a 44% chance to win this game. And the Cavs have a 56% chance to win this game. This is at Indiana. So obviously the Pacers are not going to be able to close out the series in Indiana tomorrow since they lost to the Cavs in Game 3. Now they have a chance to go up 3-1, and that is a possibility. But the Cavs, they got some momentum from Game 3. Maybe that could help them win even the series up tomorrow to like go back to Cleveland to potentially go ahead. So, hmm, I think I think the Pacers win tomorrow to go up 3-1 in the series. Denver Nuggets versus Oklahoma City Thunder, Game 4. So in this one, the Thunder has a 56.8% chance to win, and the Nuggets have a 43.2% chance to win. This is at Denver, so Denver's played well despite having a very new coach. You know they Denver is up 2-1 in the series. They could after tomorrow they could be up 3-1 to potentially win the series either the next game or the game after. You know which should be interesting. Like if they get the 3 wins, I think there's a good chance they'll make it to the next round. But who knows? OKC is a high ranked seed in the West for a reason, and I think with it being at Denver, I think the Nuggets will beat the Thunder tomorrow. College baseball. Tennessee Volunteers versus Vanderbilt Commodores, game 3. So this series is tied. Tennessee won game 1, Vandy won game 2. So whoever wins tomorrow wins the series. And this is at Knoxville, so tougher stand to play in. Whistler's not gonna have as big of a role. So I think Tennessee wins tomorrow to clinch the series since it's a home game for them. Clemson Tigers versus Duke Blue Devils, game 3. So this series is tied. Clemson won game 1, Duke won game 2. And so whoever wins tomorrow wins the series. This is at Clemson, Duke being ranked number 9 in the nation, 38-14 record. Duke unranked with a 34-16 record. So, this could be, a good game. I think with it being at Duke, I think the Tigers beat the Blue Devils tomorrow. Louisville Cardinals versus Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So there is a double header tomorrow for those two teams. So, in game 1 was won by, Louisville, 16-2. That's a pretty big win. So, this is at Georgia Tech. So, while Tech's home field advantage is not as big as like, probably Louisville's is, you know, it's somewhat there. I mean, most of them are. I mean, in Atlanta, you probably see more Georgia fans than Georgia Tech fans. But anyway, so I think I think the two teams split the doubleheader. One of them Louisville wins one game and Tech wins the other. Whichever one it is, who knows? But I think the like yeah, I think it's gonna be a split, and that'll give Louisville a 2-1 win for the series. Alabama Crimson Tide versus Georgia Bulldogs, game 3. So Georgia won game 1, and game 2 is suspended right now. Alabama's up 6-2, and if they hold on to win, they tie the series. Now, if Georgia comes back to win, they clinch the series. So yeah, and this one, so looks like it's gonna be a pseudo doubleheader. Yeah, this is at Tuscaloosa. It's not gonna be a big home field advantage. The stadium, not like some of the other SEC. I mean, heck, its home field advantage is probably even less than Georgia's. And Georgia's in a similar spot where they don't care as much about baseball. It is mostly football. So, you know, I think, despite being at Tuscaloosa, I think the difference in ranking with, Georgia 6, Alabama 23, I think Georgia wins tomorrow to in game 3 to win the series. Texas Longhorns versus Florida Gators. So Florida won game 1 and Texas won game 2. So, whoever wins tomorrow will win the series. You know, I don't know how big of a crowd it'll be in Austin, Texas for it, but it could be a decent crowd. Florida's generally a good team. You know, Texas fans will show up because they know that Texas is generally good at baseball. So I think with the home field advantage that Texas has, I think Texas beats Florida tomorrow. LSU Tigers versus Arkansas Razorbacks. So LSU won games 1 and 2, so they clinched the series. So tomorrow's game is game 3 of the series. This is you know at LSU, and I'm sure that played a role in LSU winning. I mean, it's a hard place to play in. Arkansas is a good team. Both teams are top 10. This is probably the series of the weekend. You know, I think with it being at LSU, that gave LSU the advantage. So with LSU having clinched the series, all Arkansas can do is prevent a sweep, and I think they'll do it tomorrow. I think Arkansas will win Game 3 to prevent a sweep by LSU. Oregon State Beavers versus Iowa Hawkeyes, Game 3. So Oregon State won games 1 and 2, so they clinched the series. So all Iowa can do tomorrow is prevent a sweep. This could be a good game. Oregon State ranked number 10, Iowa unranked 32-17 record. So I think that this could be a big series. Both have a chance to make it into the tournament. I mean, definitely Oregon State. They're probably all but confirmed to be hosting a regional. Anyway, for that, but I think with the difference of ranking between the two, I think Oregon State beats Iowa tomorrow to complete the sweep. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening, and look forward to the next video.